everybody. It's time for Three Guys Before the Game. Welcome in, everybody. Episode number 539. The crew is all assembled. We're ready to go. Title of the show, Searching for Mr. Right. R-I-G-H-T. Not like W-R-I-G-H-T.
Oh.
Like correct, proper, right, the right.
So you're saying Jay Wright is not going to be the next coach?
No, he's not going to be the next coach.
Okay.
Jay's going to stay on the TV side of things.
He got out.
Yeah, he done with this. He
got
done
him
with his
natty.
tomfoolery.
Yeah. He's
So
all good.
I got no time for that. Three Guys Before the Game. Also going to
It's only
jump
been
in.
a year.
What?
It's only been a year.
What are you saying?
Well, I don't know. I mean, a lot of these guys get back in.
Yeah, they do. Can't
Not
stand
speaking of the West Virginia job right now. I'm just saying a lot of these guys get back in over time. Hard to stay away.
it. Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah, people come and go, kind of like you on this show. Three Guys brought to us by Comax Business Systems.
Unfair.
Keeping
An
West
unfair attack.
Virginia's business data safe, secure, and efficient for 25 years.
Right out of the gate.
By GoMart. Go for good times. Go for GoMart. More on that coming up. Getting nice outside. Trees are budding. Flowers are blooming.
They came out. Did you know? One day you wake up and there are no blooms. And the next day you wake up and everything is blooming. I mean, it happened in 18 hours.
It's amazing. It truly is.
It's the best.
I have a faux pear tree. I have a pear tree in my front yard. And when I left for Charleston on Friday, it was just sitting there.
Right, just a partridge was in
Yeah.
it.
Came back Saturday night in full bloom.
Yeah.
Happened that fast.
'Tis the season, man. And it's too bad, like on some of those trees.
Oh, have a pear tree.
Well, what do you call it? Because it doesn't produce pears. It's a
Ornamental.
Yeah, thank you.
Lou Wendell Marine Sales in St. Albans. They sell family fun. Visit LouWendellMarineSales.com. And by the Conley CPA Group, providing value beyond the numbers.
You're a shrub guy over there.
I got a magnolia. I got a magnolia right now that's just in
Shrubs.
full blossom. It's the prettiest thing.
Do you have a magnolia?
Yeah, I do.
He said ornamental faster than he would have said Mountaineers if you'd asked West Virginia's nickname.
He did. Ornamental.
It is. Joan is so into the bushes and
Oh,
these.
really?
Oh my gosh.
But it's a little bit north for magnolia. If you have a magnolia, that's
funny,
well done.
Funny you say that, Hop.
Because here we go.
Are we going to have to restart a second episode?
The magnolia right now is in absolute full bloom.
Yeah.
It's absolutely gorgeous. And the flower lady that we know said, fortunately, hopefully this year, you will be able to enjoy it in its full vibrance, because oftentimes what happens is they pop and then we get a freeze.
Oh, yeah.
And you lose that luster. So far, so good for magnolias in West Virginia this year.
He had a flower source. It's the
We do.
season
Of
for
course he did.
sources.
Of course he did.
It's the season for sources.
got-
He just gave you talk to the flower lady.
Matter of fact, I got a 10 o'clock tomorrow morning at a nursery. I really do. On the
Of course you
schedule.
do.
They would just drag me around. What do you
Well-
think of the Abravite?
Ask them what they have. Should West Virginia get a defensive coach or an offensive-minded coach?
So you're with the new Caridi estate, you'll be certain you'll have lines of magnolia.
Well, no, there's
and,
one that's
and
already
old, there. And old oaks.
Oh, there's one that's already there.
Is there?
Oh, it's gorgeous. I bet you it's 50 feet tall.
Really?
Oh, yeah, it's gorgeous.
Oh, that's awesome.
I was going to say, the problem with these beautiful buds that come out is they don't last. They turn to leaves. The buds go away.
Well,
Got an ornamental cherry. Got an
nature's
ornamental.
way.
Got an ornamental cherry out front.
That's the second time you said ornamental.
That should have been the title of the episode. Change it.
Good folk. By the way, we're all back from Charleston. We had a great week. And
By the way, spread some fox urine around if you want to keep
And
the deer away.
little tobacco juice and Coca-Cola. Remember that guy, Jerry?
Yes.
We used to run this show, Brad, on WAJR on Saturday mornings. It was the plant guy named Jerry, and like everyone would call, right? He was like the Dave Ramsey of plants.
Yes.
Dave, or Jerry, I got this bush. Every answer was, throw some urine on there and a little bit of Coca-Cola. That'll take care of it.
It was.
That was his answer. Get some urine.
Get some fox urine. First
some
of all,
fox-
find a fox.
We have to get some fox urine.
Get it to take a leak.
Oh, boy. Three Guys brought to us by Comax Business System.
Thursday will start stronger.
Keeping West Virginia's business data safe, secure, and efficient for 25 years. We're right back from the state tournament. I think that Comax they were in charge of all of the data inside for all the statistic work that's done at courtside there. And why not? They're the premier business systems company in the state of West Virginia. Been doing it now for a ton. And they are all over the place. So whether your business is safe or not, they can tell you. They'll come in and do a free computer colonoscopy to your business network to see if you're safe. Is your data safe? Are you secure? Are you protected? Because they be coming after you every single day. Every single day. It's like the bad guys have a rush end, to use football terms, and they're bringing that rush end blindside all the time to try to get in. Comax will come in and do a complete inventory and audit of your current network to see if you're safe. They also have just wonderfully priced phone business systems from 1 line to 1,000 lines. It's comaxwv.com. All right, let's jump in. So we're into an interesting or different time of the year here on Three Guys. Basketball is over for the men. The women getting ready to play, and they have an extremely intriguing matchup in the NCAA tournament. We'll have some stats for you today, just kind of an appetizer, just a little appetizer. Then when we come back Thursday, we'll blow the whole thing up and break it down. And obviously, the coaching search is officially underway. We're starting to see some movement. A lot of people have asked about. I had a guy in Kroger yesterday, frozen food section.
Mm-hmm.
You were in holding court in Kroger?
No, doing my own thing, just looking for sweet frozen sweet potatoes without seasoning. And guy and his wife were in there, and he reached in, he took something. I reached in, I got something, and I was ready. I mean, I was ready to go.
Yeah.
And he gave me the. I got to ask you, is it Byington? I said, excuse me? I said, no, these are Orida. So people want to know. People are in. So we'll talk about that. We also have the Textual Healing segment. And if you're watching the podcast, and if Austin takes a shot, you'll see we've been inundated by, over here, unbelievable gift. Reese's popcorn. Didn't know they made it.
Didn't either. Never seen it.
Jim from Preston County, tremendous. We love you, Jim. Jim sent us 5 bags, and one's already gone.
It's good.
And if I hack and cough, you never should go on the air ever after eating popcorn.
Never.
But I did, because I have absolutely no self-control whatsoever.
Zero.
And so we killed a bag, and meanwhile I might cough and hack. All right, let's jump in. First off, let's do the women's basketball side of things. Very rarely do the bracketologists hit. They hit this one. They had West Virginia potentially seeing Iowa in the second round a week or so ago. Charlie Cream is the Joe Lenardi of women's basketball. And it could happen. But what's interesting is that West Virginia's first opponent, although they do not strike fear into your heart by their brand name, Princeton, they've got a rep, man.
Yes.
The last 2 years, they've lined up and beat NC State and Kentucky. Their head coach is a Gino Auriemma disciple, Carla Berube. She played for Gino, won a world's championship while she was there. They went 35-0, I think. She's in the Connecticut. You know her?
No, or I was there.
Excuse me?
I was there. I have one of those national championship rings that Carla
Of hers.
Berube also has. Know her well.
So she goes to Tufts to start her coaching career. And I think it's the first time on the podcast in 539 episodes that we've said Tufts, but we're saying it. So she wins stupid there, like 80% of her games. You go, well, Tufts, whatever. Do you see her record at Princeton? She's 116 in 5 years. So West Virginia going to have their hands full, but okay, fine. And then if you win that one, you would play the presumable winner of the other side, which would be a team by the name of Iowa. and they have a player on that team named Caitlin Clark. Not sure if you're familiar with her or not. And so you could have just this storybook matchup in what would be Caitlin Clark's last ever game on that floor at Carver Hawkeye Arena.
Joe Boccato says already tickets unavailable.
Is he going?
Yes.
Is he really?
Boccato's going.
Good for Joe, bro.
Yeah.
Talked to a buddy of mine last night in Iowa City and said, yeah, if you're not one of their higher level season ticket holders, you had no shot to get that. Those were out immediately.
Got to go to secondary market.
Yeah.
Carla was on that UConn team with some great players. Rebecca Lobo was the headliner on that team. Jen Rosati, who also went on to a successful coaching career. Carla said about 3 words the whole season. Very quiet, very underrated player. She was outstanding, but was probably about the 4th or 5th most talked about player, but she was a great, great player.
You didn't try to play her one-on-one like you did Lobo?
No, because after Lobo whipped my ass, I said I'm out. Not playing anybody else. True story, Hop.
Really?
True story.
Oh, yeah, you said it, Lobo.
She backed you down and just
I was only 3 years removed from, of course, my offer from Tom Davis there to come walk on the Hawkeye program. So I show up in Connecticut thinking, wait, I got missed on. Rebecca, you want to go? Come on, let's go.
She backed you in.
Backed me straight down.
Backed you down.
Just backed me straight down.
Did she back you down like that young fella from NC State?
Yeah.
That was great theater this weekend. You see the big from NC State?
No.
Oh. They're up the road, aren't they? They're in Pittsburgh.
I think
they're in Pittsburgh. Oh my gosh, you got to see this dude. Like, he beeps when he backs up. It is a big, big man.
That there's a tendency for obvious reasons, to say, oh, you win this game, you play Iowa, and it's going to be, this is an 8-9 against a NCAA team. Brad, you got a little business to attend to here first.
This is no easy game, as you just outlined. I mean, you're right. The headliner there is Caitlin Clark in a potential matchup in front of 16,000 in Carver Hawkeye Arena there. But Princeton is no joke. They have got it going. And a couple things you look for in these matchups is what do they do that may cause you problems? One of those is going to be potential offensive rebounding. Princeton elite on the offensive glass. Top 2 percentile nationally in offensive rebounding percentage. So West Virginia doesn't offensive rebound well, but it's going to need to defensive rebound extremely well here to keep Princeton off the glass. And that's if they miss. They're a very good shooting team, too. Top 10% in effective field goal percentage, so they're very good there. So don't overlook this first game here for West Virginia.
Yeah, they keep people about 50. How many points per game? 56, 55 points per game? They hold people down, too.
Yeah, because if you go on a points per 40 minutes or per 100 possessions, so they're over a point per possession.
Strength of schedule?
Don't have that one.
I'd be interested to know.
25-4, 13-1 overall.
Yeah.
Boy, doesn't that strike you as one of the teams you don't want to play?
Yes and no. Yes and no. You got to play someone, one.
Yeah.
2, best thing that could happen for West Virginia is that they beat NC State and Kentucky the last 2 years. So this isn't one of those teams that's going to come in Trojan horse like, Princeton, they're a joke. Mark Kellogg and his staff are going to be on them going, hey, guess what? Beat an ACC and an SEC team in each of the last 2 years. How you guys going to do?
Their strength is they lined up and played you. They took a loss to UCLA, very good women's program, lost by 3. Pounded Oklahoma.
Whoosy.
Early in the season, lined up, beat Oklahoma 14. Played Indiana, who's a top 10 team, lost by 9 in that one.
Ooh.
Beat Seton Hall, lined up, beat Villanova.
They beat Villanova?
Beat Villanova. Lined up, said to Rutgers, oh, come on over here, going to beat you too. Lined up, beat them 11. So they played.
They played people.
They played non-conference. I mean, Carla not afraid. She'll line up. Yeah. And then they got in the Ivy League, obviously, and went 13-1.
We looked at a line on this game yet?
Haven't yet.
Interesting.
Have some of that for Thursday.
You'll do your full breakdown.
Yeah, we'll do a full breakdown.
That's
Thursday.
kind of an appetizer.
Yeah, just take a look at them. But don't overlook Princeton is the point just to get to
Absolutely.
The Iowa Hawkeyes waiting in their home building.
Absolutely. All right, good. Good. Saw an interview with J.J. Quinterly after, I think Joe Bro had that, and she says, knees coming along, feeling better, I'll be good to go. Good.
Packed building last night.
Oh, you were there?
Yeah, they did a watch party last night over at the new club up top.
Clark Family Club.
Yeah, had a great time. It was packed.
Yeah.
Food, some cupcakes there, Kirchhoff.
Nice.
Coach spoke to the crowd.
Did you embarrass yourself food-wise?
No, because I'd embarrassed myself at dinner. Daughter's birthday dinner, went out and already was stuffed. Didn't know there'd be food at the building. So I was already out of commission by the time I got there.
Good news for Sodexo.
Plus, I had my fine-looking Phil white vest on, so I couldn't really get in anything
Careful.
with a white vest on.
Careful.
A white vest?
Yeah. Nice Peter Millar Western vest.
Oh, not like a vest, but a
Like a
athletic
outerwear vest.
Outerwear vest.
Yes.
I had a picture of you in a white vest.
Well, here,
like
you
with a
want
white
to see it? You want to see it? So you want me to explain what it looks like?
No, I get it now.
Well, I'm going to show you because Austin has a picture. Met two nice listeners there. Carol and Bucky
Okay.
were wonderful. So they came up, spoke to them. There's Carol and Bucky right
Oh.
there. See, white vest. Well, Peter
Oh,
Millar
well,
outerwear.
I had envisioned you
Well, like a sweater vest?
Yeah, like an old guy vest.
I don't want to have an old guy vest on. I had a nice outerwear.
Yeah, you
vest.
look good. Very nice. Nice crown. Good job.
Met Lonnie as well. Flew Hardy. He was there. He said hello to you.
Lonnie's
say hello to you.
Lonnie and Paul are the best. Yeah.
That was Bucky and Carol. They were
Yeah.
tremendous.
So think about this, though, real quick, and then we'll jump into the men's side of the Big 12 Conference in the NCAA tournament and the NIT. Thanks, but no thanks. Think of where West Virginia women's basketball has gone in the course of 1 year. So basically about 53 weeks ago, 51 weeks ago, 50 weeks ago, West Virginia loses in the opening round of the NCAA tournament. Basically a year ago this week.
Mm-hmm.
And Dawn Plitzewhite takes off. What if I would have told you, don't worry about it. A year later, West Virginia will be back in the NCAA tournament, and the momentum within the program will be at probably record high. I mean, the mojo and the movement on this team right now, there's a lot of loving going on.
You could not have said that with any confidence. If you said it, it would have been, oh, okay, you're dreaming. Maybe you want that to happen, but there's no evidence that will happen.
Right. You're right. And people were upset. People were angry of how that all happened. So the first thing that was really positive as soon as Mark got here is that none of the ladies left. All six that could have come back came back. That was his first, boom. And then he went out, put a few more pieces together, had the offseason to put his system in. They bought in, and off you go.
It really was a near perfect combination of the players that were already here sticking and being very, very good and buying in early. And then that new staff with Mark going out and adding a couple of obviously critical pieces. That's about as good a melting of those two groups as I've seen.
How about, I know we focus entirely on WVU, but also how about the story of Kim Caldwell going from Glenville to Marshall?
It's a great story.
And getting Coach of the Year in the Sun Belt Conference, winning the Sun Belt Conference tournament, the only way they're going to get in the NCAA, Brad, and then going to the NCAA and they play first-round game Friday in Blacksburg against the Hokies. That's a heck of a story. That's a heck of a job.
Second all-time tournament bid, I think, for Marshall is all it is.
Yeah, and first time since like 97. I mean, in a while. I mean, that's a coaching job right there.
Yeah,
and again, kept players.
Kim's terrific. I've known her for a long time. Obviously, covered her extensively at Glenville. She's been on our show a bunch and talked to her a bunch. She's really good.
Yeah,
really good. I know that's Captain Obvious. I just stole your Hoppy's obvious observations there, but to do what she did, it's one thing to get it going at Glenville like that and be able to keep it going, which is really hard to do. To be able to translate that up to Marshall in year one, that's an incredible job by both those coaches in this state in year one to have the success they had.
Absolutely true. Absolutely true, which also gives you some hope for next season on the men's side that the standard old school rebuilds are now a different deal. And we'll talk about that coming up. Obviously, we'll talk about that for months to come, and we'll talk about that all the way to the start of next season. Some interesting stuff happened in Selection Sunday, and it wasn't so much as the NCAA tournament as it was the NIT. A mass flipping off from Power 5 coaches to the NCAA, which now oversees the NIT. They took away the automatic bid to non-Power 5 conferences, Power 6 in basketball, took that away.
So real quick, so if you were a number one seed in if you won the regular season in your conference and then did not win your conference tournament and make the NCAA tournament, you received an auto berth to the NIT previously.
Correct. The given. It's a given. You're in. Don't worry about it. You're in. We got you. They took that away. because they wanted to get more of these Power 6 schools in. Well, that's a good plan until the Power 6 schools say, nah, we're not interested in playing. St. John's, Oklahoma,
Ole Miss, Pitt,
Indiana too, right? Yeah, Indiana.
Rick Pitino did say, though, with all
Maybe I'm
due
wrong.
respect, I mean, he did say that he has great respect, but
Yeah.
screw
It's
you.
not, though.
So it really upset the
And then
apple
one of our all
cart.
due respect shirts.
It really upset the. I mean, check on Indiana. They might not. They might be playing.
I'll
there.
check.
It really upset the plan because television wanted those teams in there. They wanted more brand names in that tournament, and those teams said, "We're not going to play. Don't care about it." The excuse that they're using is the portal is now open
As of today, as we record this on Monday.
as of right now. And so they're saying, no, we've got to retool a roster. We got to keep the guys that we want to keep. We got to go get guys. No, we're not interested in playing. So that turns what they thought were going to be some really interesting television matchups. They don't happen now. So they might have to look at that again.
NIT, Indiana did.
They
turn down
accepted?
no, they turned down the invitation.
Wow.
Indiana, let's see here. Indiana will decline an invitation to play in the NIT. Maybe that was earlier. Let me double check.
Yeah.
I'm double checking.
Anyway, so that's where we are. Okay, you got some numbers on Senator. You got some numbers on the teams that did make it from the Big 12.
Yeah, I got a few.
So this is what I wanted to do. This is kind of like commission work. I commissioned the senator and asked him, what is the commonality that the teams from the Big 12 conference have that earned them a spot in the NCAA tournament? Metrics. Like, what do you have to have as some just base ingredients in order to make it in to the NCAA tournament? And that leads us to...
So I checked the numbers.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
We'll just go right to the numbers. Here comes a heater.
Let's jump into the analytics portion of the show. Time for Spreads on Stats. Come on, say it with me. Who's it brought to us by? You know it. I know it. Give me a C. Give me an O. Give me an NLEY. It's a Conley
Comax.
CPA group. Yeah.
Oh, Conley. I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
Comax is with a K. Conley CPA Group. Complete service public accounting, consulting, serving clients throughout our state and beyond since 1985.
Lou Wendell.
They provide value beyond the numbers. Daniels, we pride ourselves, and they pride themselves, on doing so much more than the numbers. They are consultants for your business. So much more.
GoMart.
Bet lucky. Whatever the hell that was. Audit and assurance, tax planning and preparation, consulting, advisory, outsourcing your accounting. They can do that. They can be your accountants for your business. And they can do that remotely. They also can provide CFO services for your business. They're great folks. They're busy right now because tax season's approaching. It's the Conley CPA Group. Posted the heck out of that bad boy.
Well done.
Posted.
Hit it.
Unintentional post. All right, what do we got?
Before I get into some numbers, let's talk about this. You touched on the turnarounds. We talked about it in regards to women's basketball. Look no further than the Iowa State Cyclones, guys. The 2021 season, just a couple of years ago, Iowa State went 2-22 overall and 0-18 in league play.
And now,
Now they're
again?
2 seed,
Turning
27-7, 13-5.
Wait a second. Say that whole thing again. So that was TJ's first year?
Iowa State, no, I think it was Prohm's last year, wasn't it?
Is that okay? Was it that was his last year?
Yeah.
Because TJ has won 19 or more in 3 straight years now. Okay.
It's just 2-22, the 2020-2021 season. 2.
Yeah, that was Prom.
God, 2-22. Didn't win a conference game. Now they slide into a number 2, and some thought had a case for the number 1 seed.
Right.
So to your point of being able to turn this thing way more quickly than you've ever had before. Not only Hoppy 27-7, 13-5, a dominating win in the Big 12 tournament to beat Houston.
Houston scored 18 points in the second half.
Yeah, lined
18.
up. Iowa State
Lined up,
lined
beat
up, kicked them in the teeth by 30.
Houston did that numerous times to other teams
Yes,
this
yes.
season. I mean, they displaced people. For Iowa State to do that, that was an absolute wow.
It was a
Absolute
shocker.
wow, man. And it once again shows you the home court advantage that Iowa State has.
Did you see those pictures
Oh,
and video of
over in Power and Light District?
Well, that. But I was just talking the arena. I mean, it was
yeah.
Hilton South.
Yeah, but if you saw you see the Power and Light?
I did.
It's just like it was like the Beatles were playing. It was shoulder to shoulder. You couldn't move.
It's also interesting. We'll get back to this because I do want to dive into those Big 12 teams that got in. We'll get back to this because it also speaks to this coaching search thing as well, where, there's the win the press conference or you don't win the press conference, but you got a really good coach. Like, you just need to chill out and wait because TJ Otzelberger, all due respect to him, was not setting the world on fire at UNLV. Now, he had Iowa State ties, Hoppy. He'd been there, very good recruiter, was very well respected within the department and the fan base.
Fan loves him.
So
Fans
they loved him. But he was not killing it at UNLV. And he's able to walk in. Now, he had great success where? South Dakota State? Mm-hmm. South Dakota won one of those. Went to UNLV and was okay, but wasn't setting the world on fire. Wouldn't have been a hot commodity at multiple schools around the country, but a great fit for Iowa State and has obviously done a tremendous job of getting the right kind of players to buy into what he wants them to do and having really a magical season this season. So just a point of caution as we continue to discuss this coaching search thing here.
How did he do it?
Guard.
Yeah, their defense was oppressive.
Non-negotiable. It's non-negotiable defense. If you don't, and he said this, and I read a story about him this weekend. Nice, I think it was The Athletic. If you get The Athletic, get that. It's just basically when we bring people into our program, they have to have that intangible gene that we have to make a determination on. Will they guard? Will they be selfless? They don't go out there and try to find the fancy dude, right, that's out there and got 5 stars next to his name. He scores all these points. Will you fit into what we want to do? Because collectively, if we get all 5 to go, there's not a bunch of NBA guys running around on that team. And, sometimes you luck out. Taman Lipsey, his mom and dad work at Iowa State. He's born and raised in Ames, and he's a great player.
That program's had an incredible run of feeders from Ames High that is not a...
Frederick Hoiberg.
No, you don't have to tell me about Fred Hoiberg. Lined up, played him in Ames against Hoiberg. Thank you.
He laughed at you. He took the ball and just held it at Brad's forehead, held it.
So we were lined up. Real quick side note: we were playing my senior year, his sophomore year. He was really good, obviously. So the clock is winding down in the first half. I'm guarding him. I'm standing back, and they're going to save for the last shot in front of our bench. I can still see it like it happened yesterday. He's out front. I'm matched up. I'm right about the 3-point line. He's a little bit further out. Mm-hmm. And he takes the ball, and you didn't see this a lot in Iowa high school basketball. He takes the ball, and he just has it out down to his side. He's just
one hand with it, or do you have 2 hands?
No,
down?
he one-handed palmed it, just held it out. And
Dr. Jaded.
I can vividly remember. So how many years ago was that? That's 40-some years ago. I can remember I'm down in my defensive stance, and I'm looking at him going, this isn't good because he's 12 years old. He's a sophomore. And I'm how old are you? What are you doing? He's out there just palming it. And immediately right around me. Got no help. My team laid down, got no help. Thought I had help behind me. He was really good.
Did what he wanted to do.
But Harrison Barnes, that didn't go to Iowa State but went to North Carolina. He's from Ames High. They've had multiple guys. It's amazing what that school, that high school produces. Anyway, I digress. They also pass the ball very well, to your point about being selfless. So they pass and they guard. Imagine that.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah, that's...
So anyway, point being, Iowa State with the really quick turnaround with a guy that wasn't the hottest name in the coaching market at the time, but ended up being a really good fit.
But the guy that they wanted, that was we have to have TJ back. I remember that. He was at UNLV for what, a year?
1 or 2. Wasn't long.
No, 1 or 2,
Wasn't
maybe
long.
1.
I'll check.
Remember Chris Beard was at UNLV for 3 days.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Did pull a Chris Beard. So this was interesting. When we talked about this morning, I thought I'd come in here with about 6 or 7 bullet points that say, here it is. Here's your formula. You know what I found when I actually got in there?
What's that?
This year was a weird year. There wasn't a script. The biggest script, playing a Power 5 conference. That was the biggest script. Listen to these numbers. So all Big 12 teams that are in the NCAA tournament won 20-plus games. Check. All won at least 9 conference games. So this was not one of those years like last year when West Virginia got in with a sub 500 record. And we've seen that before from the Big 12.
Good point.
This was not one of those years. They all won at least 9 conference games. All were top 33 in the Ken Palm rankings. But here's what got me.
Wait, stop right there. You just said two big things.
Okay.
One, so looking ahead to next year, you're from West Virginia's perspective. What are you going to have to do? You're going to have to win 9. West Virginia making it in a year ago at 7-11 in the league and getting the 7th win on the last Saturday of their regular season, that was an aberration.
West Virginia's computer number last year might be the biggest gap between a computer ranking and your record of all time. I went back and looked at the final ranking. West Virginia's like 19th in the Ken Palm ranking and went 7-11. Had a not good conference record. 19 in the computer ranking. What they have in the 9 seed in the NCAA tournament was that 8-9 game, right? That West Virginia was in.
I believe.
Am
so.
I right about that?
I think so.
So that was an amazing gap right there. So, but those are your 3: win 20, win at least half of your games, and be top 33 in the Ken Palm. But if you do the first 2 out of this league, chances are you're going to be in that number. Here's what surprised me. This one did not. 4 of those teams that are in have a defensive rank of 34 or better. I'm sorry. Let me refresh. 4 are in with a defensive rank of 45 or worse. I thought all those the West Virginia or the Big 12 defensive numbers did not stay as elevated as they were early in the season. Those kind of normalized a little bit. So 4 NCAA tournament teams with a defensive rank or 45 or lower. That surprised me.
How low?
I'll go back and get those in a minute because I thought those would all come in like top 50 minimum.
Right.
They did not. Here's what I was trying to say a second ago. 4 teams were out of the NCAA tournament from the Big 12 with a defensive rank of 34 or better.
Whoa.
Really elite defensive teams did not get in.
Who were they?
15, 17, and number 22, K-State.
So Oklahoma and Kansas State.
UCF.
And UCF. Yeah. Personal aside.
Real quick. UCF 15th. Cincinnati 17th.
Wow.
Kansas State 22. Oklahoma 34. All out of the tournament.
So what were their offensive numbers then? They had to be not good.
Oklahoma, not bad, 48th. Kansas State, not good, 138. Cincinnati, 77. And UCF, 149. So we talk about you've got to be very good defensively, and you do. In this league, if you're not good defensively, you got no shot. But you also have to have some more balance. You've got to be able to score at times, too. You can't be – this is a league where you can't be like this, lopsided either way. You've got to be more level where you can win in multiple styles of play.
Oklahoma's strength of schedule. Did that hurt them?
8-10 in the league.
Right.
Overall strength of schedule, their non-conference was 323.
Yeah, not good enough.
But hold on.
They did play North Carolina, right?
Because here's what jumped out to me. Non-conference strength of schedule must not matter anymore.
Excuse me?
It must not matter.
What do you mean?
That was a thing forever. Non-conference strength of schedule, non-conference strength of schedule. Play people, play people, Hoppy.
Play people.
5 Big 12 teams that made the tournament have like a bottom 125 non-conference strength of schedule. Listen to some of these. Iowa State, 351 out of 363?
Mm-hmm.
TCU, 357, about as bad as you can be in the non-conference strength of schedule in TCU. Lined up, played no one, TCU. BYU, 327. Those are some non-conference schedules for teams that are in the tournament, including a 2 seed in Iowa State.
That is what led to the criticism that the Big 12 is gaming the system by not playing strong non-conference schedules and then just eating the fat off of being in a very, very highly respected league. They took a lot of criticism for doing that. And there might be some
with those
truth
3
to
schools, that's a valid criticism on those 3 schools. I don't know that you can use that as a full blanket statement, but those are pretty bad non-conference.
This is not as analytical or as scientific of the numbers that you use, but I truly do believe that the reason Oklahoma did not make it into the NCAA tournament was because they played country roads in Norman at the end of the West Virginia game. I don't scientifically can't prove that. I think that was karma.
Yeah, that's unconfirmed, I think.
Unconfirmed. I think that was karma came back to bite him in the back.
I mean, Oklahoma played Iowa. They played USC, both top 100. They played Providence, a top 55 team. They played Arkansas, who ended up not being any good, top 107. Played North Carolina, lost, and then they got in a conference
they played
play.
people then. Yeah, they played people.
Their conference record, that was just one of those. There were those bid stealers late. That affected the Big East Conference, too. There were a lot of bid stealers that came in there. That probably cost the Big 12 another bid or two on that.
Yes.
Oklahoma probably had a case there.
Otzelberger was at UNLV 2 years, record of 29-30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
29-30. In researching that,
Excuse me? You researched?
how many coaches do you think UNLV has had since Tark?
Unbelievable.
Take a guess.
They had Raleigh.
Yeah, Raleigh Massimino was there for 2 years.
Thank you.
Good one.
Raleigh Massimino was there for 2 years. Maybe 3.
They had Raleigh. They had Chris Beard. They had Otzelberger.
Lon Kruger's son
Lon
now.
Kruger's Kevin's there now. Saved his job this year. I'm going to say 7. It's over under 7.5.
I was going to say 7.
I'm going to go in 7.
Brad,
He went 7.
My number 7.
7. 14.
Excuse me?
They've had 14 coaches since Tark.
Oh my gracious! What was his last year?
92.
So it's 24
32
plus
years.
8,
So average
32
about
years.
2 a year, every 2 years.
Yeah, they've had some people that they've hired that haven't even put their furniture in the office yet, and they take off.
Yeah, there's a couple like Howie Landa was there
Huh?
a second. Tim Gergrich was there.
Gergrich.
Tim Gerger. I forgot Gerg.
He was there.
Big
He was,
NBA guy.
he was there for 30 seconds.
Yeah,
Max Good was there for a minute.
Max Good.
Jeez.
Was that the Max Good?
Jay
from prep school?
Spoonhour was there. Some of them were just like 6 and
Spoonhour, my
4,
guy.
2 and 5. It's just
Jay.
like
Jay was my buddy. I played
Yeah.
youth basketball against Jay.
Oh, okay.
Todd
Fouled him out, took all 5 charges from him along the baseline.
5 charges.
Youth basketball. Oh, Jay, gonna tell you what, gonna lock you down, gonna charge into me, gonna get you fouled.
Wow. You'd win some money on a trivia question on that. How many coaches have UNLV had? 2 touchdowns worth 14 coaches.
They haven't been any good since Lon Kruger. Well, this year they were 18-13.
What was
Kevin
Lon's
Kruger.
best year there?
I don't know what his. Let me check here. He was 161 and 71. Let me check what his best year was.
Well, obviously their heyday was with Jerry Tarkanian when you could say they were forward thinking in regard to the NIL.
Yes.
They were, one would say, a little bit ahead
Yeah.
of the game.
He had
Progressive.
Kruger was he had a 30-7 year in 2006-2007. He followed up with a
He was 30-7.
he was 30-7, made to the Sweet 16.
Really good coach.
Yeah. So he had success there. Yeah.
So if you look at highest ranked Ken Palm teams to be left out of the tournament field, Cincinnati comes in at the 4th highest rank that was left out. The Big 12 had 2 of the top 6, Oklahoma being the other one at 43rd. Cincinnati was 37th and left out. The highest was St. John's at 25. Did not make it in the field.
All due respect to the NIT.
How many teams reached the Sweet 16 from the Big 12?
It's a good question. I haven't gone through the bracket yet. I've got to go through the bracket some more and look at those matchups. Can't answer that today.
The league deserves criticism if they don't get how many in the Sweet 16?
Again, depends on where you're seated.
But-
BYU could get through.
It's a bust if you don't have
3.
Iowa State's one to watch, and we'll get in. I'd like to get into some games to keep an eye on. You want to do that now? Games to keep an eye on that have coaches' names that potentially could be around the WVU search.
Yeah, we have to do it now because when we record on Thursday, we'll be watching the games in here.
Yes. Let's
You're
look
going
at
to
a
be
few
here
of those.
Thursday, Hoppy?
Yeah, it'll be a lot of dead air. Games will be on. We'll be watching.
Iowa State's path is interesting. So they get South Dakota State. Didn't we just say Otzelberger was there?
Mm-hmm.
So they get South Dakota State first. Then they get the winner, and this is a game if you're West Virginia fans to keep an eye on. Washington State and Drake play in the first round. That's a bummer. The committee did some odd things. Putting those two together bums me out because those are both teams that would be fun to watch as a 7 and a 10 that could give people some trouble. Darren DeFries, of course, the Drake coach, has been fantastic there. And then Washington State's coach getting a lot of love. He's won at multiple places. He's an interesting candidate in this carousel right now, Washington State. One at 3 different places, obviously at a school that has a conference that's going away. What does he do? Does he look, is this his time to make a move out? There's a bunch of jobs open. So that's one to keep an eye on. Washington State and Drake, Washington State and Drake.
DeFreeze is 78 and 33 at Drake.
What's your situation with DeFreeze? How do you know him?
Brother went to the same school I did, one of his brothers. He's got another brother that was an All-American at the University of Iowa that then went on to play in the NFL for a number of years. A buddy of mine, dad coached and taught them in high school, really small high school, Applington Parkersburg. Hoppy, I've lifted in the Applington Parkersburg weight room.
Do you know everybody in basketball?
Working
I mean,
on it.
Everybody that comes up, you have some connection to.
Working on it. He's been very good. So here's another one. Wisconsin, the 5 Wisconsin against the 12 James Madison. Mark Byington's been a name that's swirling around this search. That game comes up on the 22nd. What day is 22nd? Thursday or Friday?
18, 19.
Let's get those. Doesn't matter.
Friday.
Friday. Okay, so that game's Friday. Mississippi State, the 8 against Michigan State, the 9. Chris Jan. You want another story?
Yes.
Chris Jan's the Mississippi State coach.
He's down there with Jimmy Bell.
So he's got Jimmy Bell. He's been very successful as well. Longtime Wichita State assistant with Greg Marshall. Lots of success there.
West Virginia connection. Mark Downey from Morgantown used to be on his staff.
At Bowling Green, which
Yeah.
was his next stop. He won at Bowling Green, then went to New Mexico State, won there, had Theodore Allen.
Theodore Allen.
Theodore
Buckets?
Allen. One of the
Buckets,
one
yes,
of the
Hoppy
darlings
Buckets.
of the NCAA tournament. Would that have been 2 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 2 years ago. So he won there, then took the Mississippi State job. Now he has James Bell on his team. Chris Jans, when I arrived at my school, went to play basketball and baseball, first basketball meeting scrimmage we got together, it was immediately, hey, wait till you see Chris Jans, wait till you see Chris Jans. He played in the same conference that my school was in, was kind of a Steph Curry before there was Steph Curry as a player.
Well,
He would fire as immediately stepping across half court. He was a really good player in his own right. So that game comes up on Thursday, the 21st, Mississippi State against Michigan State. And then there's a play-in game, one of the play-in opening round games, Colorado State against Virginia. That has some interest. UVA, West Virginia obviously played them this season. Colorado State is coached by Nico Medved, very successful coach as well, who has ties to the Morgantown area through his wife.
Yeah.
So there's just a couple
Hoppy, you
names.
doing
That's good
anything?
intel.
Hoppy, you doing anything on this search? What do you got? Any obvious observations?
Yeah, HOO. One is that I suspect that Ren Baker's down to like 4 or 5. I mean, you would be at this point to 4 or 5 people, right?
That might be a little light.
Okay. Well, okay. That I'm going to go with 4 or 5, maybe 6. Okay, but I think you're down to that point, and that you can do Zooms, you can talk on the phone. You got to do face to face. You got to get them in here, or you got to meet them in person. And frankly, with the names Brad mentioned, you're just not going to be able to until somebody's out of the tournament. So it's not like your search is stalled, but you're waiting. I think you're in a waiting game. And also that, the whole Mark Byington thing, I mean, that started out, Brad, as the hot name, but I get a cool vibe on the hot name,
It was
frankly.
way overblown early.
Yes, agreed.
It was way overblown early. There were a lot of people that ran with that report that it was done, told it was not. That was a early jumping of the gun by some.
It's not. It's absolutely not done. And again, the vibe I get, it's all. That it's not Byington, and it's not. And look, and I don't want to start trouble here. I don't want to.
Which means you're about to.
Well, I'm just going to say that it continues to circulate out there. There's still individuals who still want, the Bob Huggins thing, and that just, again, it unequivocally, without question, that is not going to happen under any circumstance. There is no avenue. People can talk about it. People can say he should apply for whatever. It is not going to happen. And rarely do I say things so definitively than that. That is simply not. There's no way.
If you've followed us through the years when it comes to coaching searches, and we haven't had a ton through the
It
years.
seems like we're always talking about one.
Well,
Feels like it.
Well, not really. I mean, not really at West Virginia. You just said UNLV's had 14 since Jerry Tarkanian.
yes,
I mean, West Virginia's had fewer than the average.
Yes.
They're under the
Yes,
average.
yes.
But my point to this is this. we always say this, the two most difficult stories to cover are coaching searches and conference reorganization. Those are the two most difficult, because what happens is everyone wants to know, and sometimes people say things and they take off like a flame and gas. It just explodes. So the reason I bring this up is because we were all down in Charleston for the state boys basketball tournament, and we had a couple of people come up to Brad and I and say, hey, I hear that West Virginia's first one or two candidates have turned them down. No. Hasn't even gotten to that point yet. It hasn't even gotten to that point. Conversations are happening. Ren Baker has his list. Think of this as a game of dominoes. And you've got all the dominoes lined up. You have to wait for the dominoes that begin to fall to trigger the next move. That's the point that you're at right now. So to your point, Hoppy, Ren Baker he probably started a list. He probably had his list of about 45 to 50 names. And then they prioritize. And then you have to, it's literally a game of like, you have to wait before you can move based upon the NCAA tournament and based upon what other schools do.
And NIT.
And NIT, for example.
Whoever's playing.
The Indiana State coach.
Let's talk about him next.
Let's get into this. So, was he on West Virginia's list? Yeah, he was on West Virginia's list. Looks like he's going to St. Louis. Why is he going to St. Louis? Well, West Virginia may have had him on their list, but he may have gotten that vibe that you're going to have to wait for us to go through some other names before we get to you in our pecking order, right? So that's how this thing plays. So people are asking me, here's what I say. West Virginia is going to get a really good basketball coach. They're going to get a really good basketball coach who's got really good credentials. But at this moment, no one knows who it's going to be, including Ren Baker. He knows who his list is, but you don't know how the dominoes are going to roll.
And look, and also there are, like, Mark Byington is one of those guys who's on everybody's list, right? Anybody that's looking for a coach, Byington's name comes up. So there's an echo chamber.
Correct.
That goes on.
Along with Dusty May and Josh Schertz, the Indiana State, and Darren DeFries. I mean, there's 3 or 4 guys that are on everybody's list, yes.
Yeah.
And then you've got to dig down, get the next wave. And so, yeah, you get down to 5 or 6 that you do the interviews with, and that's when the matrix starts happening. So, yeah, you're right on Schertz. He gets a sense, okay, I'm probably not the number one. I've just had a historic year at Indiana State. I've got to make some sort of move here. I've got to keep going. Because Indiana State and St. Louis, without digging in, doesn't seem like a huge, massive move, but it resets the clock and keeps him moving a little bit.
Yeah. It's fluid. It truly is incredibly fluid, and you don't know where the thing is going to end up, other than you're going to come out of this fine. You're going to get a guy that has won. Ren has his priorities as to what he wants. He knows what the ingredients are that you need to have to be successful in this job, both on the court and off the court. So it's just a matter of, okay, I'll go. And I would also submit there's probably a name or two out there that isn't getting a ton of talk right now, that might be a sitting coach at a Power 5 school, Power 6 school, that you also have to kind of have conversations with as well. So all of that is in play. Incredibly fluid, but you just have to wait.
Not too long.
Well, it could be a couple weeks.
Just depends.
Just think of this.
Yeah,
After this weekend is over.
You've never had more resources at your disposal in terms of staff. You've never had more people understanding the portal. You've never had more players available in the portal. So yes, you need to move quickly, but you don't need to rush. How about that, Hoppy?
Well, that's what
move quickly, but don't rush.
That's what John Wooden said. Yeah.
That's a very good saying for right now.
Yeah.
Move quickly, but don't hurry or don't rush.
Don't hurry, I think he said.
Double check.
I use don't rush. Quote myself, not John Wooden. Thank you.
Spreads on Stats brought to us by the Conley CPA Group, providing value beyond the numbers. And here's something for you, folks. All of our GoMart fans, Brad and I stopped there. We went down to Charleston. We stopped at 4 different GoMarts going up and down the road. And you know the lesson that we came out of there with?
What?
I said, don't be sad. Be happy. The updated GoMart app has officially landed. Everyone's favorite gopher is taking the wheel in Marty Cart. You log into the app, take Marty for a spin Marty, and you watch your rewards points roll in. It's kind of playing a game. Master Marty's driving skills to earn coins redeemable for free M&Ms at GoMart. Download or update the GoMart app today. Join in on the phone. Speaking of M&Ms, we got a box M&Ms presented to us at the state tournament.
Really?
Yeah. And
Did I see him?
Reese's. Fred.
Our guy Fred.
Yeah, Fred.
The full quote is, be quick, but don't hurry.
Yeah.
And recruit NBA players. That was the other part of that.
I'll just use my own. What'd I say?
Well, I don't know. It's your quote.
Well, you threw me off. You were so excited to mention John Wooden.
Yeah, recruit.
Well, because
Stole my own quote.
it's not your quote. It's Wooden's quote.
It wasn't Wooden's quote. What was Wooden's quote?
Be quick, but don't hurry.
I said move quickly, don't rush.
Hey, Hoppy, did he get NBA players?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a
He was
futurist.
progressive.
He was progressive progressive in the NIL game. That's one of the great untold stories.
It is, but you still won 9 in a row. So right? 9 in a row?
8, 9, whatever it was. Never to be done again. Yeah.
No, not possible.
All right, you guys ready to do some healing? It's time to do some healing. Let's do some healing.
I just checked quotes. They do have that attributed to Brad Howell.
It's a different quote.
Wikipedia.
Go quickly, don't rush.
It's the same thing.
What'd he say?
He said, whatever you do, be original. That's what he
close
said.
to the same thing, not even the same words.
Be quick, but don't hurry.
Yeah, not even the same words.
Textual Healing is brought to us by episode800.com. That's our website.
Just use it and attribute it to him.
Episode800.com. Or you can purchase all kinds of stuff. You can buy our coffee,
Can't say go fast ever again without saying John Wooden.
popcorn.
Dana resurfaces as an offensive coordinator. He can't say that he likes to go fast. He's got to say, well, John Wooden liked to go fast, so I go fast. No one else can ever go fast.
Apparel.
Only comes from John Wooden.
Say to your wife.
Say any derivative of quick or rush or hurry has to be attributed to John Wooden.
You say to Laura, listen, I need you to get home quickly, but don't hurry, as John Wooden would say. Sorry.
So on episode
Those
800.
bills pass the legislature quickly, but you got to attribute it to John Wooden before you ask somebody about that on your public affairs show.
Episode800.com, brought to us by episode800.com, Textual Healing. So you can buy our coffee there. Our coffee is roasted here in Morgantown by Mountaineer Roasting. Last week, the owner of Mountaineer Roasting, Rusty Isaacs, he made a trip to South America with WVU students as part of their spring break.
Whereabouts? Colombia, Ecuador, Peru?
I don't know. So Guatemala, I believe.
It's Central America.
So here we go. I want to show you some pictures. If you would put those coffee pictures up, Austin. So that gentleman there, his name is Ricardo Zelaya. He is the owner of Finca Santa Clara. That's his farm. And they produce Guatemalan coffee that makes up 50% of our game day grind. Can you show us a little bit there? So there he is. And you see those wooden dryers, I think you would say. Those are all beans inside there. And then here is the actual coffee bean on the plant. So I didn't know this until a bit ago, but inside those, what look like cherries, are pits. Those pits are the coffee bean.
Oh.
And so you dry those fruits off, and they literally dry them off, I think, in the sun, and then they get to the pit. That's the coffee bean, and you ship the coffee bean. It's in a green form. They send it over here. He mixes it here. He roasts it in Morgantown, and that makes our game day grind.
So it's not roasted there?
No.
Okay.
Oh, no, it's got to be roasted here.
Okay.
Yeah, so you get the
Cool.
green beans, but yeah, it's inside basically of a cherry.
Whereabouts in Guatemala?
I don't know, dude. I don't know, but yeah. So that was that's good.
That's great. Having some today, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. So happy to have that. From the text line,
Just asking.
Buckwheat in Chicago writes, I just finished watching episode 539. Actually, it was 538. I made a mistake. To this is 539. But anyway, I get your point. I'm in the middle of reading my losing season on Hoppy's unequivocal recommendation, and I found numerous parallels with the past season for Josh Eilick. As I'm sure Hoppy knows, the book is about much more than the senior year of basketball for Pat Conroy at the Citadel. Thank you, Hoppy. Keep up the outstanding work, Mountaineers.
One of the great sports books of all time.
That is your book.
You
man.
do highly recommend that.
Yeah. I'm going to get that for you, Brad.
Yeah, I've not read it yet.
I'll get it for you.
Texter, it's with great honor that I inform you that Three Guys Before the Game has won the prestigious Outstanding WVU Sports Podcast in northern Mount Pleasant, South Carolina.
Excellent.
Congratulations on being the best WVU podcast in all of northern Mountain Pleasant. Sincerely, Brian Burgess.
I'd like to thank everybody, entire crew.
Committee.
He's the chairman of the Northern Mount Pleasant WVU Sports Podcast Association.
A lot of work goes into this and planning.
Texter, I have a small adjustment to make to y'all's comments about the Kanawha River camera. The river was smooth, but the current was very swift, probably too much for most boats. Just Saturday, the water level was just below the gates at the Winfield Locks.
Ooh.
Here in a few days, it will be normal, and I will be fishing it.
All right.
Good update.
Thanks for helping me through the work days.
You know the advice when you're fishing? Be quick, but don't hurry.
Yeah.
Says John Wood.
Speaking of Winfield,
Only one that can say that.
unbelievable. Folks at Lou Wendell Marine Sales have the best selection of the season right now, including boats and accessories. And we've got that tremendous opportunity for you for that 2023 Tri-Tune Venture 85 23-foot pontoon powered by that Honda 115. And it is tremendously priced and available right now. It's the Three Guys special. They sell Avalons, which are the premier pontoon boats. New hours as the summer season approaches, Monday through Friday, 8:30 until 5. Sunday, open from 1 until 5 p.m. 1 until 5 p.m. on Sundays. Lou Wendell Marine Sales, the single largest pontoon boat dealer in the state of West Virginia. Texter asks a question. How much do we have to pay? I lost that. How much do we have to pay to hear the 11-minute lost episode? Will the audio file be on sale at episode 800.com?
Yeah, what did you do with that? Is it
I had a
archive or destroyed?
it's here. I mean, I had a little piece. Maybe next episode, remind me.
Okay.
Texter, Kyle in Martinsburg, who's an aspiring landowner, wanted to get your guys' thoughts on the new college football playoff model and the revenue distribution. I think having a playoff auto bid for the winner of the Big 12 is great for West Virginia. However, all Big 12 schools will be at a significant disadvantage when it comes to revenue compared to the Big 10 and SEC schools. Thoughts?
I'm going to get into that a little more. My knee-jerk reaction is I don't like that. Auto bid's great, as we've talked. I think that's tremendous. That adds to the conference season. Now you're niched down trying to win a conference season, not just trying to win a conference season, then having to fight your way in with politics. So I think that part's good. The uneven revenue distribution is going to be a potential problem down the road, though.
Texter, hi, Brad, Tony, Hoppy. My son and son-in-law just texted me asking if I was the Siesta Key trolley rider. I hadn't listened to the show yet, but I guess I forgot to sign my name on my text. Sorry, guys, but thanks for reading my text on the show. Julie B. from Morgantown. So that was she was on a trolley? Kind of forget that one.
On the conch train?
Oh.
That's what they call it, I think. Conch train.
Adam in D.C. writes, I got last-minute tickets to the ACC semifinal basketball tournament with friends who went to school in Pennsylvania and at UVA. Between the two games, two gentlemen come and sit next to me. One of them happened to be a cook, as they always say, a West Virginia connection.
What?
Cook went to the ACC, went to the tournament. He's a basketball fan, likes to watch games. John from Audra State Park writes, mid-karaoke text. We're celebrating our friend Will's bachelor party in Nashville. What we didn't know was the SEC tournament was there this week, the place crawling with Kentucky fans. I felt obligated to carry the torch and sing Country Roads. A little nervous with all the blue. As I started to sing, a couple of gold hats walked in. In the dimly lit room, the shining hats of the gold turned out to be fellow Mountaineers who belted it out with me as Kentucky went down to Texas A&M. Always a West Virginia connection.
Good work.
Well done.
Absolutely. Speaking of West Virginia connection, saw here on the Twitterverse, Jeff Goodman, basketball college writer, reports that referee Ted Valentine, who's a West Virginia native, will work the NCAA tournament this season for the first time since 2019. Valentine was one of the officials that was sent home after contact tracing in 2021, and he was not allowed to work the last two NCAA tournaments by the NCAA because he didn't leave the bubble immediately when he was asked to do so. Valentine thought he should be allowed to test again and be eligible to officiate Sweet 16 games. So they put him on a undesired hiatus, but now Ted...
Double secret probation.
Yeah, Teddy will be in the NCAA tournament.
One of the more animated officials.
He is.
You'll see.
Yeah.
Just saw him this summer, TBT.
Oh,
we talked to him.
Oh, yeah. Texter.
Hey, by the way, we were at the state tournament, as you know, and watching those games. And when you're, Tony, you're that close all the time you're there. And I know we've talked a lot about officiating and calls or no calls and maybe having a chance to question officials. It's hard to do in basketball. There's so much going on. It happens so fast. There's so much contact. You know, it's even at the high school level we were watching, I mean, it's so physical. How much do you call? Brad, you saw it.
It's hard.
It's really hard. I thought the guys did a really good job.
Yeah, I did too.
I thought they did a really good job. The state tournament finals were absolutely bizarre. Never seen
and terrific.
Never seen before.
Reason?
Think about this. Well,
I mean,
all four games were decided by 3 points.
Last possession.
All four games, the team that won avenged a loss against that same team from the regular season. All four games were 1-2. I mean, what more do you want?
And all four games decided by 3 points. Is that right?
Yeah, or less.
Right.
And the two win all four games as well?
Yes.
I think the two seed beat the
Yeah, the
one
two
every
beat
time.
the
Two
one.
beat the one.
And 2 went to overtime.
I mean, the odds of that happening are impossible.
So
It's a great day of basketball.
here
It's
is
a great week, but it really
yeah.
was a terrific day.
here's something that in the quad A. Here's something. Two things can be true at the same time. That was a bad game. That was a great game.
Yeah.
I mean, they couldn't shoot it. They were both 30% range for the game. It was 28-28 at the end of the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And it wasn't an intended stall game. But at the same time, the game was fabulously dramatic and great to watch. So that's kind of the beauty of the game. Sometimes you got people making shots, sometimes you don't. That's the beauty of the game.
And sometimes, as I contend in that one, that was a lot about the defense and physicality. Because you know when it's hard to make shots? When you're tired and you've been leaned on and you've been banging and it's physical. And we a lot of times just say, oh, it's bad offensive games. They couldn't shoot. They didn't make shots. I miss some. Sometimes there's other factors that lead to that you got to put in the equation. And I think that was true in that game.
I mean,
Yes.
Extremely entertaining, dramatic game. But percentage-wise, you wouldn't send that tape in and say, hey, watch the beauty of the game. But it was a game. It was good. I enjoyed it.
But you would I think you would sacrifice the quote unquote quality of the game for a great finish.
Yes. And you know what else that state tournament is it still has? Like, for example, Bluefield played Wheeling Central in the semis on Friday.
Yes.
Like, I'm watching that game and I'm saying to myself, like, this is what this state tournament is all about. All the way to the top of the state, all the way to the bottom of the state, and they are balling back and forth. Like, that's the state tournament. It was fantastic.
That was a fun game, too.
And then, for example, and this is true for all of these communities, but when Shady Spring won that game, you see what that means to those people in that community. I mean, that was just the 5th time that they've been there in their school's history. They had lost the previous 2 years. and it's their second state championship. And it's just such an absolute fine line of what determines a win and a loss.
Yeah.
I mean, Dave Retton, just unbelievable coach. But, like, it just comes down to, like, a shot here or there. That's what makes people go, because you just don't know.
And then the execution, Hoppy, in our second game, the Quad A game, the Spring Mills Morgantown game, that the Sharon Young, one of the best players in the state, came within a last-second shot his freshman year of winning 4 state titles. Was one of those kids. He was struggling, right? Because they put 2, 6, 7 guys on him. It was tough to get shots off. And the play that Dave Tallman drew up at the end of that game, stolen from Brad Stevens, former Butler coach, Celtics, it involved a cross-court pass all the way across the court, entailed, okay, so the pass has to be good. The guy in the corner has to catch it with about 6 inches of landing room. You talk about watch the baseline, watch the shot. Then he has to deliver a pass. Then there has to be a screen. Then you get the ball and have to make the shot.
Yeah.
That's how that game ended in Quad A.
While the place is just erupting. I mean, the den in there.
Yeah.
I mean, it gets really loud. And also because a lot of the fans are young fans, it's really high-pitched. So, I mean, it's just intense. It is a great atmosphere. And coaches, Tony, you've been there many times. Coaches talk about how it is different there.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you go to some of these high school gyms, man, it's a night and day difference. You get onto that floor and the lights and the whole thing, it's a completely different game. I congratulate every single team, winners and those that didn't come up with the win, for just fantastic basketball. By the way, all those games, all 4 of the title games, are available on Metro News Television. You can watch those now.
And it's like their NCAA, because it's get to Charleston, right?
Sure.
We want to get to Charleston. You hear that all the time.
Texter says, Tony, I thought you would be interested as a fellow Italian, signed by Rich in Williamsburg. So what that is there, I'm going to read this really super quick. What you should look for to authenticate Italian products that you buy. And it says, as dispatch here, the market is rife with imposters for items like Parmigiano Reggiano cheese, San Marzano tomatoes, balsamic vinegar. Thankfully, these ingredients are so prized in Italy, they're subject to a specific set of parameters in order to be called the real thing. This is called a DOP in Italy, which translates to a designated protected origin. This protection set forth by the Italian government specifies precisely how and where an item can be made to use the official name. So the short on this is this. It's a red and yellow logo. When you go buy something and you want to know if it's absolutely authentic, you'll see the DOP on it. There's a little thing that says it's been approved. And the same thing for wines. You'll see that same designation on wine bottles. That is from that specific, those grapes are from that specific area. Because like he said, there's so much fraud and all of that that's out there. That is the thing that says, it's a USDA, for example, like, okay, that's the real deal.
Okay, good to know.
Matt in Fayetteville wants us to get involved with some kind of a movement to have WVU students moved for basketball games.
Check with Brad.
Brad, that's
no thanks. Did it for many years, not in that business anymore.
That's kind of what I thought you said.
Went to a lot of meetings on that stuff, not doing it.
Fellows, while you guys were efforting...
Other competent people can handle that now, Hoppy.
Fellas, while you guys were efforting with the Quad A and Triple A Overtime Championship broadcast Saturday, you guys need to put some respect on Hoppy's play-by-play and in-game knowledge. He did an awesome job in the evening games. What can't that man do?
How about that, huh?
How about show up for work? That might be one thing he can't do. He says you're a mansion whisperer, a fashion mogul, bringing the hanky back, an independent beer icon. He also is an amateur fireman. If you would, Austin, could you show us that picture of our friend from the Charleston Fire Department? We had an encounter, Hoppy, on Saturday, and a wonderful gentleman. Actually, those are those two guys there. That's another text. Give me the one where we're standing inside the Civic Center there, if you would.
Courtside at the Civic Center. There we go.
Hoppy.
Yes.
Yeah, that's one of your guys.
Yeah.
So, Steve.
Yeah.
Steve, he had just finished, they were just fighting a stairway fire. He just got back from fighting a stairway fire.
Just a one alarm. Just a one alarm. Don't be
Thank
concerned.
goodness.
They handled it.
Arson. Someone put stuff on the steps, try to burn the steps.
Child's play for them. Went over, said we'll handle this.
But he said your appearance there at the fire station was really well received.
I had a great visit. We I hung around for like 2 hours.
He told us that. He said we were trying to get him to leave. He wouldn't. He did tell us that.
You know, the alarm came in. I said, "Hey, wait a minute. I'm not finished yet. Don't rush out."
Yeah.
No,
Let someone else get it.
Yeah, they were fantastic. We had a wonderful visit, and it was good.
Texter, we missed you at the Canal Boulevard Starbucks Saturday morning, but I get it. You guys are busy. Your schedule was tight. In your absence, we still had a good time. I met my local firefighters from Charleston's West Side that were there to see Hoppy. Super nice guys, huge Three Guys fans. I also got to meet my new friend, Jim, pictured here, and we found out that we live on the same street.
Of course they do.
Why wouldn't they?
Yeah.
There they are. I'm sure we'll get together for Kirchevels and Mountaineer games in the future. Thanks for bringing us all together, but I think you owe us a Three Guys event in Charleston sometime soon. I know a guy with a stern wheeler. Thanks again.
We do need to do a Three Guys in Charleston. I think we got a lot. I think we got a lot of people there.
Did you hear what he just said? Do you hear what he just said? Mr. I don't like to leave to go to Saberton, and now he's going to go down to Charleston. Okay, fine. That's fine.
Wait a minute. You guys, I never said I said I wasn't going to be at Starbucks, and you guys were talking a big game about Starbucks. What happened to Starbucks?
Too early.
Schedule.
If we went over there wearing our suits and had a coffee spill, day's over.
Catastrophic. Couldn't take that risk. Too early to get there. Get over there, get it, socialize, and get back, get ready, load the luggage, the whole thing.
Wouldn't have worked.
Just had too much.
I could have told you that when you all mentioned it.
So you know what we did?
Well, you should have told us that. You were on the air with us. You
got-
didn't
you
say that.
We got one of the kids.
don't
We
say
got
that.
one.
Would you have listened? Would you have paid attention?
No.
I would have. He wouldn't have.
We got one of the kids that played in the state tournament to go over to the Starbucks, and he brought us the coffee.
You did what?
We
Excuse
got one
me?
of the kids that played in the state tournament and sent him over there and said, would you go get us Starbucks?
Did he get back in time for the game?
Tony buys, he flies, came back. He had a nice game. He played well.
I mean, he was playing in it that day?
No, he had
No,
gotten
he'd already
eliminated.
played.
It was
He'd
Ben Lohman.
Oh, okay.
Ben Lohman, the first ever kid in state tournament history
History.
that played in the state tournament and worked the camera for the championship broadcast for
In the
Metro
same
News-
week.
In the same week
In the
for
same
Metro News
week.
Sports.
And then add to it and made a coffee run.
He's the same kid that we took out of school about a week and a half ago so he could come down and run the video stream because we didn't have anyone else. Took him out of school.
MVP.
That's my boy.
He handled the coffee order flawlessly as well.
Oh, he can manage.
He got double figures in rebounds in their game.
Got
You know
double
that? He had the 12 rebounds when they played
Yeah,
did he?
in the state tournament.
This
Yeah.
week. Yeah. Then lined up, ran a camera.
Former state
I saw
goalie
that
of the year.
because I did the broadcast. I was leaving, and somebody tapped me on the shoulder. It was Loman up at the cameras. Ben Loman up at the camera at the location.
Yeah,
You know,
we
the upcam.
spotlighted him.
Yeah.
Yeah, we spotlighted him on our broadcast. Let's see here. Texter writes, the Three Guys all get up at 5 or 6 a.m.? What do you do at 5 or 6 a.m. if it's not hunting season? And your guy that gets up at 4:09 a.m., poor buddy, he's never seen the end of a Super Bowl. Misses half of West Virginia basketball games. He's screwed if we get a Thursday night football game. Monday night football is a dream. You guys need to tell the poor buddy he's allowed to walk at 5 p.m. Guess he's in bed by then. LOL, Jay in Greenbrier County. No, so he can't walk at 5 p.m. I'm talking about Joe Roberts, Brad.
Sure.
And Joe is the athletics director at one of the biggest high schools in Ohio. And he is always at events at 5 p.m., so he's got to walk early. This was written on a blog, and it says this. The invisible letter lurking at the end of a grocery store. I've lived in Indiana for 12 years now, and prior to that, I was born and raised in Oklahoma. In both places, I couldn't help but notice the same strange phenomenon when people talked about shopping at grocery stores. For some reason, people tend to add an S to the end of the name of the store. In the Midwest, I hear Aldi's, Myers, Kroger's all the time. In Oklahoma, I've heard several people say Walmart's. I don't think people are suggesting that they went to multiple Kroger stores. So that's why I wrote them as possessive instead of plurals. Why do people do this? It could be because some grocery stores already end in S, whether it's a possessive or a plural name. Whole Foods, Albertsons, used to be possessive, but now it's not. Trader Joe's, Sprouts Farmers Market, Publix, and my favorite, Schnucks, a St. Louis regional chain. Just sounds like a word you'd call if someone wanted to characterize him as some sort of dense nincompoop. On the other hand, some of the major stores have their origins as possessive names. For instance, Meijer began as Meyer's Thrifty Acres. Although Kroger started as Kroger Grocery and Baking Company, did you know that Walmart was originally called Walton's Five and Dime? So he goes, my guess is adding an S to the end of a grocery store name is a holdover from when many stores used the last name of the store owners as their names. So that's why people say Kroger's.
A lot of people say Kroger's.
They do.
Or the Kroger's.
Or the Kroger's. Yeah. Lastly.
Some of it's just generational, too, with other things. Like I've got a bunch of people I know say Best Buys.
Seriously.
Mm-hmm. Not a grocery chain, obviously, but I get Best Buys.
That's pretty wild. Pretty wild.
Best Buys?
Mm-hmm.
Best Buys.
Best Buys.
Giant Eagles?
Absolutely good. I
You get Giant
know
Eagles.
multiple people that give me Giant Eagles. Mm-hmm.
Hey, three guys. Professor Vinny here. It's my favorite time of the year, watching the tournament, rooting for teams who you hope beat the team with the head coach you want to hire.
Interesting.
In all seriousness, this coaching search is going to have to take some patience from the fans. It's going to be a long next 2 to 3 weeks. In the meantime, let's go. WV women's basketball team will win, and they will play, checks notes, Iowa, most likely. There he goes.
It's good. Worry about Princeton. Things will take care of themselves.
Gotta get my girl Carla first.
Yeah.
And not a gimme. We'll do a more thorough breakdown coming up on Thursday.
All right. So when we get back on Thursday, we will have, obviously, more information. I mean, maybe you'll have more information. Who knows? I mean, all I'm saying to you all is this.
You know, you probably won't.
Yeah, you probably won't. All I'm saying is just be don't buy what people say. How about that? Is that good? Unless,
well, we're people.
Here we go.
We say things.
Unless Pete Thamel reports it, don't go with it.
What?
There was a text in there that said, will Hoppy have it before Pete Thamel?
Don't get my...
That's your guy, huh, Hop? That's you. Line it up, baby. 1 seed against a 1 seed.
Pressure's on.
Think you'll get it? Who gets it, do you think? Who busts it first?
I don't want... Let me say this. No, I'm not going to say anything.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who gets it first.
It matters to me.
What, 68 seconds later, someone else will have it, and then 32 seconds later, someone else will. Who cares? You get a prize. You get a ribbon. You get a trophy if someone gets it first. You know what a guy told me?
I'm with him on this.
You know what someone told me once?
What?
Guy I worked for.
Who?
He was a news director. He said, doesn't matter who gets it first. It's who gets it right.
Did I say that?
Maybe someone should go back.
No,
and
John
look at
Wooden said it. You stole it. Close it out. I got to go.
C'est la vie. Buonasera. We're out. Thanks to our
As Coach
producer,
Wooden said.
Austin Wright. Just remember, don't listen to Hoppy. See you.